Good afternoon, everyone. The graduates may sit down. You can sit down too. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jody Sanford, and I have the great pleasure of being the Dean of the Evans School of Public Policy and Governance, and we are here to celebrate these amazing people and all that they've accomplished. We are joined, obviously, by friends and family, and I just want to say, graduates, savor this moment. You did it. You're here. By fulfilling the requirements for this master's degree and doctorate, you are joining the educated elite of the United States and around the world. And with that, of course, draws your attention to the much in the world that needs attention. And we're proud of how the Evans School really is part of how you're going to be responding to the challenges of today. So I want to start by just acknowledging we've had some really unusual circumstances in the last 2 years. The media has been sharing the accounts, all of the people graduating this time. People will say, obviously, COVID really significantly impacts your educational experience. And you know that because at the beginning, you navigated the challenge of deciding whether or not to apply for graduate school, right? Whether or not to come once you got accepted. What was it like at the beginning when you were doing virtual classes or checking the schedule almost every week to figure out what format was your education going to be happening in, what platform? I'm really happy that this last academic year we've been able to be in person together, be in community together. I also want to recognize that this MPA class arrived in 2021, and you quickly experienced a very particular kind of loss. One of your compatriots, Jeremy Mackey, died soon after he arrived in Seattle. And while a few of us had an opportunity to really get to know him well, we knew his life and his death were so significant, and it really impacted those in the class who were close to him. And the loss took an emotional toll at the beginning of your graduate education. Through our conversations, I really understood more deeply the source of distress that kind of came with being at your stage at this time, being at all of our stages at this time. And I pledged to make some institutional changes. So I'm happy to report that last week, a new mental health counselor had started at the Evans School. She'll be here before the students arrive on campus, be a resource at the beginning of the transition, the middle, and the end of the program. She can offer critical support and resources. It's important. And over the last 2 years, obviously, it was more than just COVID. We've faced and tried to grapple more deeply with racial injustice. We've witnessed an armed insurrection at the US Capitol and increasing pressure to really democratize the public systems and how they operate. And so it's my hope that when the graduates look back at this time, you realize that you chose to respond in a very particular way. It would have been easy to step back, to embrace cynicism, to walk away from the commitment to the common good, but you didn't. And I really hope that you feel like the Evans School equipped you with the skills to tackle the stresses and be a force of making the types of necessary policy and systems changes that are ahead. I firmly believe that the democratic system will depend on our ability to address the inequities, reinvigorate productive public discourse, and rebuild lasting faith in public institutions. And I'm also proud to say that at the Evans School, we don't just see you as our change agents. In the school, we're innovating. We're engaging in curricular reform. We're starting new programs focused on addressing historical racial bias and putting more access to people for this world-class education that you've experienced. Our people and program managers are also finishing a 4-day workshop on honing our abilities to manage our operations strategically and equitably. And our faculty in the last few days spent hours grappling with how new changes, the rapid adoption of AI, for example, are altering classrooms and our work. I'm proud of these actions because at our school, we must participate in the change we desire. We need to walk the talk. So when I think about what's ahead for each of you and for the Evans School, I'm optimistic. It's going to be hard. It's going to require a lot from us, but I think we're up to the task. We will be there, bringing our values, our skills, our talents to this moment in history. And we will feel proud that we showed up to do the hard work necessary to create the democracy that we need rather than the democracy we've had. So to help us illustrate some of these ideas, this commitment, I'm honored to introduce King County Council member Gurmai Johali to be our commencement speaker. He represents District 2, which includes the Central District, Capitol Hill, and the University District. He was born in Sudan of refugee parents, and they fled persecution to go to Ethiopia, but then at age 3, he ended up in Seattle. After graduating from Franklin High School, he received degrees from Stanford University and UPenn Law School, and then he worked in the Obama White House. His experience growing up in public housing inspired him to, among other things, found Riding Leaders, Inc., a nonprofit that supports underserved middle school students. Since taking office in 2020, council member has been very busy, and we're grateful he's taken the time to spend with us today.
What's up, class of 2023? How's it going? It's so good to be here with all of you. Thank you so much, Dean Jody. Thank you so much to all the professors on the stage. And by the way, if any of you doze off, I'll know because I can see you right behind me up there. How's everybody feeling? You should be feeling great. This is a huge accomplishment. And today is a historical day because you're going to get to hear the first ever keynote speech written entirely by ChatGPT. I'm joking, Dean Jody. Don't regret inviting me. I'm Gurmai Johali. I'm a King County Council member, and I actually represent the district that we're in right now. And I'm so honored to be here speaking to my future replacements. After today, I get to start pushing off my policy responsibilities to all of you, and that is so exciting. Because let me tell you what, we have a lot of responsibilities ahead of us, and I could use the help right now. You have so much opportunity to do good in our state. You could not have graduated at a more pivotal time. When I started on the council in 2020, that was also a pivotal time. Perfect timing to be greeted by global pandemic, uprisings, insurrection, war, you know, all the light stuff. It's been crazy, but people often ask me, what's been the most powerful thing you've learned? What's been the most surprising thing about being an elected official? And, you know, I could say a lot of things since 2020 has been such a crazy time, but I want to share with you what has actually been the most surprising lesson for me, and hopefully you can take something away from it. The experience that's been most surprising to me, the lesson that has completely reframed my thinking, is shifting my mindset from being primarily focused on public policy to being primarily focused on relationships. I learned that the most effective way to be a leader is to reprogram my brain to being primarily focused not on just policies, but on relationships that I want to build. I realized that progress doesn't move at the speed of public policy. Progress moves at the speed of relationships. Relationships between people built on trust are what solve problems, are what break barriers, and what are push our collective society forward. I didn't fully appreciate this concept when I first started on the council in 2020. I was a bright-eyed 32-year-old with long, luxurious hair. It was down to my waist, and now I look like this. I'm joking. Anyway, when I started on the council, I was determined to solve grand public policy challenges. I want to solve the housing crisis, climate change, criminal justice reform. I believe that public policy was the key to transformation. And in my first couple years, we actually did get some significant wins. We passed historic tenant protections, criminal justice reform, made substantial investments in housing and community development, and then I would send out mailers to all of my constituents on glossy paper listing all the things that we've accomplished for them. But something strange kept happening. Every now and then I would go to a town hall or a community meeting or an apartment complex, and some of my most marginalized constituents would say things like, "None of our representatives, including you, have ever come to talk to us before." They would say, "You're listing all these policy accomplishments, but I haven't felt them." I was confused, and sometimes I would even get frustrated because I heard some constituents say things like, "Oh, this other council member came by to my organization and dropped off this $5,000 check." But those constituents didn't seem to appreciate that I had passed policies that would invest millions of dollars into the neighborhood. I didn't get it. $5,000, $1 million, it wasn't adding up. But what I didn't appreciate is it wasn't about the dollar amount. It was about showing up to deliver the check. It was about looking someone in the eyes, shaking their hands, getting to know their culture, asking about their kids, connecting with them on a human level, and telling them that they matter. Passing a big policy from my downtown council and chamber, no matter the price tag of the investment, doesn't necessarily build the trust necessary for progress. It also doesn't shape the policy in the specific and nuanced ways needed to affect a specific community. Trust is the prerequisite for good public policy, but it's also the lubricant for passing public policy more effectively. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to use the word lubricant. It sounds weird when I'm up here like this. You don't hear it until you say it in front of a lot of people. Let me rephrase. When you put an emphasis on grassroots relationship building, trust building, the big systemic changes become easier too, because then you have the buy-in and the energy from a base that will show up for you. That's the framework that helped us pass the Youth Achievement Center. We talked to South Seattle youth who told us that the number one thing they need is just a stable place to live. And so we worked with them, and now we're going to build 100 units of housing for unhoused youth in South Seattle right there in Columbia City. Thank you. That grassroots framework is what helped us turn the needle for Skyway, this community that has been disinvested from for years. Direct engagement with residents who had lived there for decades and who already had all the brilliant ideas for how to fix their neighborhood. So we worked with them continuously, and we were able to get historic investments in that neighborhood around affordable housing, community centers, public transit. And again, that's because of the relationship building. That grassroots framework is what helped us launch the Crisis Care Centers initiative, direct engagement with people living in crisis. And that led me to champion and pass the largest investment in behavioral health in our region's history. Class of 2023, I want you to think about the road ahead of you. We have so many challenges in front of us in these next few years. The planet is burning. People are having trouble meeting their basic needs. Democracy is in peril. And as you think about the role that you are going to play in solving these problems, I want you to consider my question. What would it look like for you to shift your mindset from what kind of public policy do you want to pass to what kind of relationships do you want to build? If you're going to work at a nonprofit, maybe you can strengthen the relationships with staff at other nonprofits so you can go ahead and serve your clients in a more holistic way as a collaborative. If you're going to go work in local government, how can you bring local government to the low-income apartment complexes that have never met their representatives before? Can your primary focus be building relationships with the communities most impacted by the problems that you seek to solve? If you're going to be a communications director, what would it look like for you to reach out to the people that you deem to be toxic on Twitter and asking them to get coffee with you? Would that help you pass better policies? Would that help solve the divisiveness of our public discourse? If you're working as a policy analyst, what would it mean to push back on consultants who exclusively present you with national level data and charts about why this policy or that policy is the best one for your locality? And instead ask them, who have you engaged on this work? Who did you give a leadership role to? What relationships did we build? Remember, the phrase systemic change is just an abstract way and a confusing way of saying build better relationships between people so that they can get stuff done in a more effective way. The better the relationship, the better the system. Progress moves at the speed of relationships. Thank you, and go out there and build some relationships.
I would like to invite our PhD student, Emily, to come forth and give her address to the students.
I'm very honored to be standing here today among such a strong and creative group of emerging public leaders and scholars. Having worked with many of you in one capacity or another, I'm fully convinced that the power to disrupt inequitable systems and make lasting change lies right here in this room. One of the things that's always attracted me about public policy is its complexity. Nothing is necessarily simple or straightforward. Issues are multifaceted, and conditions are always changing. In short, public policy is about solving big problems. Unfortunately, that isn't the way policy is often treated in the real world. From the local government administration perspective, which is where I sit, we often become tethered to the way things have historically been done, always responding to the pressures of the next election cycle. In doing so, we miss the opportunity to create a vision for the future we want to achieve. Vision is the spark that ignites our passion and propels us forward. But vision alone isn't enough. As we embark on our leadership journeys, we must also cultivate humility. Humility keeps our egos in check, reminding us that we are each a small piece in a much larger puzzle. It's the willingness to listen, to learn, to admit that we have been wrong, and to grow from the lived experience of others. Humility allows us to recognize our own fallibility and acknowledge that success is never achieved in isolation, but through collaboration and collective effort. In my experience with a small city government in Virginia, we constantly face situations in which internally generated policies, programs, or initiatives are at odds with the perspectives and lived experiences of those we aim to serve, particularly historically marginalized communities. Unsurprisingly, we fail to achieve our intended impact. But my jurisdiction is certainly not unique in that regard. The humility, the willingness to cede our power and learn from others is missing from most of our governance processes. As we leave the safe haven of the Evans School, we must carry with us a vision that surpasses the boundaries of what is known and what is comfortable. Let us strive to be leaders who uplift and empower others, recognizing that our true measure of success lies not in personal achievement, but in the ways that we impact the lives of those we serve. Armed with a clear vision and tempered by humility, we possess the tools to navigate the challenges our governance systems pose with purpose and integrity. We're all well aware of the social, economic, and environmental challenges we face. The reality is we don't necessarily know what the solutions are going to look like in practice. Regardless of what sector or institution we work in, most of us will be at the cutting edge. We're going to be challenged to innovate, to uproot deeply embedded modes of thinking that maintain structural inequity. But I submit to you that rather than seeing these challenges as insurmountable, we need to leverage the skills and tools we've gained from our time at the Evans School and commit to doing things differently. So class of 2023, may we never lose sight of our guiding vision while always remaining open to the lessons others can teach us. Thank you and congratulations, fellow colleagues.
David Flynn, who is our Executive Master's Program speaker.
Dean Jody, members of the faculty, family and friends that have traveled near and far, graduating class of 2023, and cohort 19. Cohort 19, you've been excellent. I am beholden each of you. I wholeheartedly love you all. My name's David Flynn, and please allow me to express my deepest gratitude for the honor to speak. My fellow graduates, today celebrate the accomplishments that you've achieved at one of the greatest universities in the world. But there's work to be done, and you're needed. In 1990, following a duty assignment abroad, I was stationed at Fort Lewis. I met someone, and we began dating. Eventually, we moved in with one another, but 3 months later, the war in Iraq began. As it became more and more probable that I would deploy, we started having serious conversations about how our relationship would be affected. Now, mind you, she was 20 and I was 22 at the time. We talked about trying to stay together. We talked about going our own separate ways. We even talked about getting married. The one thing that we didn't talk about was the legality of interracial marriage. You see, she's black and Vietnamese, and I'm white. We didn't have to have that discussion because that matter was settled 23 years earlier by the Supreme Court. Just 23 years earlier. Think about that. Ultimately, we decided to marry and divorce, and we had a daughter and 4 sons along the way. My children are the most important people in my life, and for the most part, they were easy to raise. But like many kids, there were times that they found themselves in difficult situations. And in some of those situations, my children were treated inequitably and faced harsher consequences. As a father, that was infuriating. But even more troubling was the knowledge that I would leave the situation and return to the privilege of being received by the world as a white man, a privilege my children have never known, a privilege that should be a basic human right. Our society is plagued with policy decisions made long ago and reinforced over time to perpetuate and sustain discrimination, exclusion, and marginalization. The challenges ahead require thoughtful leadership and moral resolve. It's not enough to aim to correct failed policies and historical injustice. We must diligently push for change and challenge harmful and disruptive policies. Across this country, we're witnessing an attack on women's reproductive rights and body autonomy. Recently, the state of Florida passed a law banning the teaching of equity, diversity, and inclusion in public universities, and there's legislation sitting on the governor's desk in Texas awaiting signature. Although it may feel that the challenges we face as a country are insurmountable, don't become discouraged. Indifference is the deadliest threat to change. The Evans School has prepared each of us for our journey ahead. It's time to put the lessons learned into practical application. My fellow graduates, I choose optimism and hope because of you. But there's work to be done, and you're needed. In closing, I would like to share 4 simple thoughts that have served me well during my 30 years as a public servant. Everything in life comes down to relationships. Be genuine. The people closest to the problem are the closest to the solution. Learn from everyone. At some point, you will become the villain in someone's plot. Live your life with purpose. Don't become distracted. And every act of kindness creates a ripple effect that may affect the lives of people that you will never meet. Make a difference. Thank you. Be boundless.
And now I'm happy to invite Crystal Song to the lectern.
Do I look okay? All right. Good afternoon. My name is Crystal Song, and it is an absolute honor to be representing the graduating MPA class today. To each of my classmates, thank you and congratulations on your achievements over the last 2 or 3 years. To the Evans faculty and staff, thank you for your tireless efforts towards strengthening the Evans School and teaching us to be equitable changemakers. And to the parents and caregivers in the room, congratulations to you too. Maybe now we'll all finally get real jobs and start paying for your retirement. Some of you took the day off work for this celebration. Some of you have traveled long distances from other states and countries. Some of you are joining us virtually. To all of you, thank you for being here. But I also want to acknowledge and honor the people who can't be with us. Today, I'm thinking about the people for whom higher education was never an option because of systemic barriers, about the people who are, against all odds, pursuing their degrees from behind prison bars, about the kids and would-be graduates across the country who were killed by gun violence on their school campuses. I am thinking of my classmates who are grieving tremendous loss from these last 2 years, whose loved ones are no longer with us on this earth. Today, I am also thinking of Jeremy Mackey, a friend and classmate whom we lost our first year at the Evans School. They should all be with us. Today, I want to share with you something deeply personal. When I was a kid, grown-ups, like my teachers, loved me because they never had to worry about me. Throughout grade school, I was that kid that got straight A's, was captain of the golf team, and I even spoke at my high school graduation. And because I was doing everything right, no one really noticed when something was wrong. Truth is, I was really struggling with my mental health, but I didn't tell anyone because not only was I afraid to be vulnerable, but I thought that it would damage the dreams that I had for my future. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But still, years passed like that, busily, silently, and painfully. Then, just about 8 years ago, it all took a turn when I was hospitalized for wanting to end my life. For the first time in my life, I had no dreams and I didn't have the energy to dream. I dropped out of college, stopped talking to my friends, and I pretty much quit everything. It was a really dark time that I wasn't sure would end. But then, after several months, something beautiful happened. People, both friends and strangers whom I had no idea were also struggling with their mental health, reached out to me to share their stories and their failures, to be vulnerable with me during a time when I felt so alone, during a time when what I needed was not someone to save me, but someone to see me. And finally, I began to heal. To quote author and psychotherapist Phil Stutz, failure, weakness, and vulnerability is like a connector. It connects you to the rest of the world because what you're doing is giving out a signal that says, I need you because I can't do this by myself. I share with you my deepest failure in life to remind you the importance of human connection and that the things that matter can't be accomplished in isolation. We have all experienced failure, struggle, and feelings of brokenness, and we will continue to have those moments until our dying breath, especially in the work that each of us seeks to do. And during our lives, we will also watch others fail, struggle, and feel broken and unimportant. I argue that those moments are the most critical opportunities to build community and human connection, to give and receive vulnerability, to exercise radical empathy. Don't turn away, lean in. My parting message to you is this. As you all get out there to change systems and policies using your skills running regressions and stata and building color-coded policy matrices, use your vulnerability to stay close to the people you love, to heal others and yourselves, to build communities and relationships in which each of us can flourish, even and especially after hitting rock bottom. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal, David, and Emily for those poignant remarks and a call to action for your fellow graduates. Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Sturwalt. I'm a teaching professor, and I lead the capstone program for our MPAs. Along with Erica, it is our pleasure to present awards to graduates who have excelled in their Evans School academic and leadership activities. When I read your name, I'll ask the student recipients to stand. All award recipients, please retrieve your certificate from our terrific staff on the concourse immediately after the ceremony. Erica, do you want to start?
I would love to start. I'm Erica Barnhart. I'm an associate teaching professor, and I have the privilege of being the faculty director for our executive MPA program. I get to present 2 awards to cohort 19. The first award, I have to be honest, the type is on. This is a little small, and I don't have my readers. So we're all just, we're going to go along for the ride. As part of our final course in the Executive MPA program, students do what's called a capstone. This award is for the outstanding capstone, which demonstrated leadership, development, and application of program content within their professional experience. This year, there were so many amazing capstones. We have 2 award recipients. Please stand when I say your name, Natalia Fado and Paul Ryan. Congratulations, Paul and Natalia. Our second award is for the exceptional EMPA student. The recipient of this honor is selected by EMPA faculty. The award goes to a student who exhibits outstanding leadership, dedication to the Evans School and their cohort, and overall academic achievement in the EMPA program. This year's award recipient for exceptional executive MPA student goes to Julia Levitt. Congratulations, Julia. Congratulations, every single one of the incredible students in the Cohort 19 Executive MPA program. Congratulations.
For our MPA graduates this year, our capstone awards recognize graduates whose final project was found to be exceptional, exemplifying clear problem definition, excellent methodology, the incorporation of diverse perspectives, and recommendations for feasible and innovative policy solutions to the challenges identified by their client. First, I'd like to thank all the instructors who supervised and nominated capstones this year: Akhtar Badshaw, Erica Barnett, Ann Bostrom, Grant Bloom, Allison Cullen, Joaquin Herranz, Sarah Levin, Mariko Lockhart, and Kevin Werner. Now, graduates, please stand as I call your names. For the Environmental Policy and Management Research Prize goes to a project supervised by Professor Ann Bostrom for the capstone entitled Rising Tides, the City of Westport Sea Level Rise Engagement. MJ Braley, Tessa Harvey, Allison Lorenz, Elena Tracy. Congratulations, MJ, Tessa, Allison, and Elena. The International Development Research Prize goes to a team supervised by Joaquin Herranz for their project entitled Addressing Water Stress in India, Global Learnings and Evaluation Framework for Rejuvenation of Water Bodies. Oh, look, you all know who you are. Pranav Dayanand, Usha Gulapundi, Helen Ippolito, and Haley Skinner. Congratulations. The Justice Diversity Research Prize goes to a team supervised by Professor Allison Cullen for a project entitled Assessing Drinking Water Affordability in Washington State. Wesley Franks, Brian Goldgeiger, Julie Kim, Veronica Owen, Anna Suirniak, congratulations to you all. The Nonprofit Management Research Prize this year is awarded to a team supervised by Professor Erica Barnhart for their project titled Transformational Governance, Taking Collective Justice Northwest from Fiscal Sponsorship to Nonprofit. Crystal Song, Gunita Chadha, Rachel Bubalo, Trevor Hunt. Congratulations to you all. The Social Policy Research Prize goes to a team supervised by Professor Grant Bloom, who completed a project titled Methadone Opioid Use Disorder and Skilled Nursing Facilities, a policy, regulatory, and qualitative analysis of barriers to patient referral. Rosie Cullen, Katrina DeBoer, Danielle Rakovic, Aidan Rosler. Congratulations. This year's Policy and Governance Research Prize goes to a team supervised by Professor Ann Bostrom, who completed a project titled A Hole in a Community Approach, How Federal Disaster Policy Overlooks Indigenous Communities. Ashton Jenisic, Evan Mix, Alyssa Noltner, and Charles Veith. Congratulations, Ashton, Evan, Alyssa, and Charles. This year's Financial Management and Budgeting Prize goes to a student. Oh, we have the wrong text. Maybe you didn't win. Who has the actual run of show? For the. Hold on. No, I got it now. Let's do it again. This year's Financial Management and Budgeting Prize goes to a student team entitled Sustainable Funding Strategies for Digital Equity. Alex Altschuler, Audrey Gollert, Gabby Laxon, Jane Zhu, Zachary Kircher. Great job. It's now my pleasure to welcome Professor Heather Hill to begin the procession of the graduates.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am honored to be announcing the graduates in the PhD program in Public Policy and Governance. And I am going to say their name, their dissertation title, and the person who will be hooding them today in the ceremony. If you will just hold your applause until they're up on stage and being hooded, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Our first graduate is Emily Fincham Mason. 3 essays on preferences for and determinants of participatory philanthropy in U.S. foundations. She is being hooded by her chair, the chair of her dissertation, Mary Kay Gugerty, who co-chaired the dissertation along with David Suarez. Congratulations, Emily. The next 2 students could not be here for the event today, so I'll just read their names and the information. We congratulate Matt Fowle, whose dissertation, The Color of Homelessness, the Causes, Reproduction, and Consequences of Racial Inequality and Homelessness. Matt's chair of his dissertation committee was Professor Rachel File. Congratulations also to Nicole Kovsky, whose dissertation, 3 essays on income support policy, family violence, and household economic arrangements, was chaired by Professor Marika Claywitter. Next, we have Austin Sell, whose dissertation, The District-Wide Impact of Charter School Implementation, was chaired by Professor Mark Long, who could not be here today. In his stead, Professor David Layton, who was on Austin's committee, will be providing the hood. Congratulations, Austin. Next up is Rebecca Walcott, whose dissertation, Digital Technologies for Financial Inclusion, 3 papers on innovative mobile money tech regulation and use in sub-Saharan Africa, was co-chaired by Professor Mary Kay Gugerty and Professor Lee Anderson, and Professor Gugerty will be providing her the hood. Congratulations, Becca. And finally, Francisco Javier Santamarina, whose dissertation, Nonprofit Sector Rationalization, Measurement and Implications for Nonprofit Finance and Evaluation, was chaired by Professor Mary Kay Gugerty, who will be hooding him. Congratulations, Francisco. Congratulations to all of the PhD graduates.
Come on up, Executive MPA Cohort 19. Don't need my readers for this. It's all going to work out. This mic is hot. What? Natalia Fado. April Shine. Kevin Freeman. Mandy Goldberg. Rebecca Schaefer Ross. Sarah Pietka. Stephanie Sampedro. Joshua Silva. Mark Viramontes Heron. David Flynn. Lauren Caputo Allen. Tess Hembry. Shane Hirsch. Annika Steve. Anna Rump. Fatimo Malo. Benjamin Harrison. Simone Coleman. Julia Levitt. Jed Holmes. Matthew Brown. Kimber Starr. And Paul Ryan. Congratulations, class of 2023.
We will now present the degrees to the Masters in Public Administration.
Jamie Ziaya. Violet McJunkin. Lucero Marquez. Anna Reeder. Zaira Siddiqui. Brady Anderson. Matthew Mitnick. Grant Gustafson. Alexander Huff. George Nobrega.
Allison Lorenz. Elena Tracy. Mary Jordan Brayley. Sean Lowy. Alexis Altschuler.
I'll take that.
Charles Veith. Ashton Jenisek. Evan Mix. Emma Ledsham. Nathan Frark. Amar Bayaskalan Batbatar. Grace Peck. Trevor Hunt. Paul Menifee. Danielle Rokovec. Joel Anderson. Gunita Chada. Davon Thomas. Crystal Song.
Ramon Hernandez.
Colin Munson.
Christine Jones.
Quinn Weber.
Samantha Tarvin.
Madia Aldanim.
Lauren Savage Wittig.
Talis Moore.
Jean Curry.
Myra Hernandez.
Katie Chamberlain.
Victor Meirengu Kamau.
Reed Swain.
Felipe Borja Diaz.
Meredith Wong.
Lydia Besserat.
Marlon Sanchez.
Lars Borsenpain.
Camille Gix.
Brian Goldgeier.
Ushanjani Golapudi.
Rob Young.
Clarice Nakayama.
Evan Ash.
Cynthia Ijan Vasquez.
Sydney Sewell.
Nathan Stenson.
Aiden Rosler.
Gina Wardell.
Paul Ryan Villanueva.
Kari Taylor.
Scott Weinberger.
Jessica Faris.
Jane Zhu.
Caroline Cox.
Tristan Hall.
Alla Smilenak Cross.
Amy Lokoff.
Alyssa Noltner.
Quentin Jancola.
Jill Roth.
Gabriella Laxon.
Catherine Bess.
Gloria Gonzalez Zapata.
Kathy Landry.
Alyssa Wen.
Rosie Cullen.
Alice Mar Abe.
Elena Becker.
Emily Gilroy.
Helen Maria Genoa Ippolito.
Leah Julius.
Steph Wang.
Nancy Rose Houston.
Veronica Owen.
Sylvain Booker.
Ashton Kirschner.
Lila Buchanan.
Emily Aoki Yamashita.
Owen Collins.
Maiko Patchke.
Tessa Simone Harvey.
Demi Reeves.
Katrine DeBoer.
Alyssa Mast.
Mary Julia Durker.
Devin Lombard Henley.
Annalise Stein.
Hope Kalegi.
Treya Valancourt.
Brad Blackburn III.
Deanna Madlambayan.
Phoenica Jong.
Alex Shahazizian.
Brianna Murrin.
Anna Sowerniak.
Elizabeth Jesperson.
Hanqing Guo.
Audrey Gillard.
Jawan Hu.
Catherine Thomas.
Yanyu Shu.
Miriam Chacheva.
Connor Ercuyo.
Amanda Charles Booz.
Carla Abrego.
Megan Lafayette.
Ahmad Hamdan.
Noel Johnson.
Mackenzie Komashak.
Julie Hee-yoon Kim.
Sophia Nicholson Keener.
Amelia Chaden.
Zachary Kircher.
Jacob Wall.
Camille Smith.
Sebastian Wood.
Ben Trong.
Amanda Bishop.
Miriam Noor.
Diana Sanchez Ramirez.
Grace Glon.
Haley Skinner.
Elena Popik.
Parna Vlinam.
Neil Brown.
Alex Zoe.
Janina Ferrara.
Evan Pierce.
Shiinchi Wee.
Isa Hirata.
Ruyi Guan.
Aaron Murphy.
Manhan Jai.
Joseph Gooden.
Jinye Young.
Tianfu Lu.
Chunwei Chao.
Chechi Kang.
Zubda Hamid.
Shihao Wu. Calvin Chenhui Shu.
Absa Samba.
Dylan Feldhaus. Zhao Shu. Mohammed Alkars. Benjamin Brown. Alexander Beard. And Kenta Takayama. Congratulations to the class of 2023.
Given the energy in this room, there's not much more I can say, but congratulations. Please join us out in the front for a reception to celebrate, take photos, and just really savor this day. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to. We followed. We proceeded. At least we used to. Maybe not. Are they supposed to? All right. This will be interesting. This is more serious. All right, we're going to zipper.